5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Start. This matter has been brought before the Honorable Court in relation to a dispute regarding a breach of contract. The petitioner seeks compensation for the financial losses suffered due to the alleged non-performance by the respondent under the terms of a contract executed between the two parties. The petitioner alleges that the respondent has failed to fulfill several critical obligations as per the contract, causing the petitioner significant harm. The counsel for the petitioner contends that the respondent's failure to deliver on the agreed terms and timelines has directly resulted in business losses, which are substantial in nature and value. The petitioner's legal team has presented their case by pointing to the specific provisions of the contract which clearly outline the duties of the respondent, including the timely delivery of goods and services. The petitioner maintains that the terms of the contract were breached when the respondent failed to perform the agreed tasks by the stipulated deadlines. According to the petitioner, the respondent was repeatedly reminded of the obligations, yet no significant action was taken to fulfill the terms of the contract. The counsel for the respondent, however, denies the allegations of breach of contract. The respondent's counsel argues that the delays in performance were not due to any fault of their own. The respondent claims that certain external circumstances beyond their control led to the delays, including unforeseen supply chain disruptions and significant logistical issues. The respondent asserts that these issues fall under the scope of force majeure, a contractual clause that excuses performance in the event of exceptional circumstances that could not have been foreseen or prevented. In response, the petitioner argues that the force majeure clause does not apply in this case, as the external factors cited by the respondent do not meet the legal criteria for invoking such a clause. The petitioner maintains that the respondent's failure to perform was not due to any extraordinary or uncontrollable event, and therefore, the excuse provided by the respondent does not justify the breach of contract. The petitioner further contends that even if there was an element of force majeure, the respondent should have notified the petitioner at the earliest opportunity and taken necessary steps to mitigate the delay, which was not done. The court has listened carefully to the arguments presented by both parties. It is evident that the central issue revolves around the application and interpretation of the force majeure clause, as well as the question of whether the respondent's actions constituted a breach of contract. The court has also noted that the petitioner is seeking substantial compensation for the alleged financial losses caused by the respondent's failure to perform, and this claim must be examined with the utmost care and attention. The court also acknowledges that the petitioner's claim for compensation is based on the assertion that the delay in performance has caused significant financial harm. To assess the validity of this claim, the court has directed the petitioner to submit additional documentation detailing the exact nature of the business losses incurred as a direct result of the respondent's alleged failure to fulfill the contract. This documentation should include financial records, contracts with third parties, and any other evidence that demonstrates the impact of the delay on the petitioner's business operations. The respondent, in turn, has been asked to provide further details of the external circumstances that led to the delay. Specifically, the respondent must provide evidence that the disruptions cited were indeed beyond their control and that they took all reasonable steps to mitigate the impact of these disruptions. The court expects a detailed account of the actions taken by the respondent to address the issues and to inform the petitioner of the delays. If the respondent fails to provide satisfactory evidence, it could result in an adverse inference being drawn against them. In addition to these issues, the court has instructed both parties to submit a memorandum of issues. This will help clarify the points of contention between them and assist in narrowing the scope of the case. The court expects that the issues be framed clearly so that the matter can proceed in an orderly and efficient manner with minimal delay. Both parties have been advised to ensure that all the necessary evidence is submitted in compliance with the court's directions. The court is also mindful of the fact that prolonged litigation can cause unnecessary hardship to both parties. Therefore, the court has recommended that the parties consider exploring alternative dispute resolution mechanisms, such as mediation or arbitration, to resolve the dispute amicably. The court has indicated its willingness to facilitate such a process if both parties are open to it. However, the court has made it clear that this will not delay the litigation process and the case will proceed as scheduled if no resolution is reached through these mechanisms. At this stage, the court has reserved its judgment on the petitioner's request for interim relief. The petitioner has sought interim compensation to mitigate the financial impact of the delay while the case is being resolved. The court has emphasized that any interim relief granted will be based on the evidence submitted by both parties and that the parties must act in good faith to provide all relevant information in a timely manner. The matter has been adjourned to a future date for further hearings, during which the parties will be required to submit their additional documentation and evidence. The court will then proceed to evaluate the merits of the case and issue its judgment based on the findings. In conclusion, the court has directed both parties to submit additional evidence and documentation to support their claims and defenses. The primary issues to be addressed are the applicability of the force majeure clause and the validity of the compensation sought by the petitioner. The court has also encouraged the parties to explore alternative dispute resolution mechanisms and will proceed with the case as scheduled, ensuring that all procedural requirements are met. Stop.